It was a quiet night above Earth. The sky was clear, stars shining like silver dust. People across the world watched their phones, read the news, and went about their lives. No one expected what was about to happen. At first, it looked like a meteor shower, bright streaks moving across the dark sky. But these lights were not falling, they were slowing down. Dozens, then hundreds of them. The world's satellites picked them up within seconds. They were ships. Massive ships. Alien ships. Every country panicked. Military radars locked on them. Defense systems went online. The United Nations held an emergency meeting within the hour. The alien ships didn't attack. They didn't even move closer. They just floated silently in Earth's orbit, like sleeping giants watching from above. Then came the signal. One simple message, broadcast in every human language at once. The voice was not male or female. It was cold, mechanical, and calm. Help us. That was it. 2 words that changed history. Governments were confused. Help. Why would an alien fleet, capable of crossing galaxies, need help from humans? Scientists and engineers around the world analyzed the signal, trying to find a hidden meaning. But it was real. Within hours, the aliens sent detailed blueprints and schematics of their ships. Their message continued, "Our systems are failing. Our cores are unstable. We require repairs. We trust humanity." That last line shocked everyone. Trust humanity? Why? Humanity had only just begun exploring the solar system. Why would an advanced species trust them with their technology? But curiosity was stronger than fear. Soon, the world's greatest minds were working together. Engineers from NASA, ESA, and even private companies joined forces. Massive space shuttles were launched carrying repair teams to the orbiting alien fleet. The first mission was led by Dr. Elara Quinn, a quiet but brilliant engineer known for solving impossible problems. As she looked at the alien ships through her shuttle window, she whispered, "They look alive." The ships were unlike anything humans had ever seen. Their surface seemed to move, like liquid metal flowing in slow waves. Strange symbols glowed across their hulls. The closer they got, the stronger the hum became, a deep vibration that shook the air inside the shuttle. "It's like the ship is breathing," one engineer said, his voice trembling. "Maybe it's not a machine," Elara replied. When they finally docked, the airlock opened with a low hiss. Inside, the ship was dark, silent, but it felt warm. The walls pulsed faintly, as if they were sensing the new visitors. No crew, no bodies, no signs of life. Only strange humming sounds, echoing softly like distant whispers. The repair team began scanning. The materials were unknown, stronger than any human alloy, yet smooth like glass. "We can't even cut it," one technician complained. "Maybe it doesn't want to be cut," Elara said softly. Then, as she placed her hand on the wall, the lights flickered. The hum grew louder. A voice echoed through their helmets. Human presence detected. Authorization pending. Everyone froze. "Did you hear that?" someone shouted. "Yes," Elara said, her heart pounding. "It's scanning us." One by one, panels opened in the walls, revealing glowing energy conduits. Streams of light flowed through them, reacting to human movement. "It's like it's waking up," Elara whispered. She tried sending a signal back, but their radios jammed. The ship systems were taking over all communication. Then suddenly, the main console lit up. A holographic symbol appeared in front of them, a glowing spiral with lines branching outward, like a galaxy map. And then, the ship spoke again. "Primary systems, restored. Searching for command host." Before anyone could react, a beam of light shot out from the console, scanning the entire room. It moved from person to person, stopping on Elara. The voice spoke once more, softer this time. "Command host found. Synchronization complete." The lights on the ship turned bright white. The floor trembled. The team screamed as the ship started powering on by itself. "Shut it down," someone yelled. But the controls didn't respond. The ship was alive, and it had chosen. Ilara's heart raced. "What did it just do?" she whispered. "It chose you," said her assistant, staring in shock. On the ship's surface outside, new symbols appeared, glowing like veins of fire. From Earth's ground telescopes, millions of people watched in awe as one alien ship separated from the rest and began to move on its own. It slowly aligned itself above Earth, as if protecting it. The alien fleet remained silent. No attack. No sign of threat. Just one ship, awake. Ilara didn't know what was happening, but she felt something deep inside her mind, a presence. It was calm, ancient, and powerful. A whisper echoed in her head. "We came for help. But now, you are chosen." The signal from orbit spread across every device on Earth. Reporters, scientists, and ordinary people listened in shock as that same alien voice repeated, "Humanity has been selected. The test begins." And with that, the stars above Earth began to move again, forming strange patterns no telescope had ever seen. The night that began in silence now echoed with mystery. Humanity had answered the call for help. But they had no idea what they had just awakened. The world did not sleep that night. Every country watched the skies, every scientist studied the signals. The alien ship that had chosen Dr. Ilara Quinn now hovered above Earth, silent but alive. It followed her every command, as if it could read her thoughts. The other ships remained motionless in orbit, waiting. Governments rushed to send more teams, believing the first contact had been a success. But no one understood what had really happened inside that ship. Ilara sat in the control room of her shuttle, still trembling. The ship's systems were connected to her mind somehow. When she thought about power or engines, screens appeared in front of her, showing data in glowing alien symbols. She could not read them, yet somehow she understood. It felt like the ship was teaching her. On Earth, news spread fast. People called her the chosen engineer. Some saw her as a hero, others as a threat. But Ilara didn't care about fame. She only wanted to know why the aliens trusted humanity and why their fleet had gone silent. The next morning, more shuttles arrived, carrying teams from all over the world. They were assigned to different alien ships. Each team entered with excitement and fear. The ships were massive inside, like endless metal cathedrals filled with humming energy. The walls glowed faintly, as if breathing. When the team started working, they realized something incredible. The ships seemed to be helping them. Whenever a human touched a damaged part, it opened up automatically, revealing wires and circuits that seemed to repair themselves. "It's like they know what we're trying to do," one engineer whispered. But not everything was peaceful. Strange things began happening. Some engineers reported hearing whispers in their helmets. Others said they saw shadows moving in the corners of the halls. A few even claimed the ships were communicating through their dreams. Dr. Ilara started keeping a record of every incident. She noticed one pattern. Every time a team completed a repair, the ship's energy core glowed brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. When her own ship reached full power, it spoke again. The same calm, mechanical voice filled the room. "Thank you, human. You are worthy." Ilara froze. The last time the ship spoke, it had chosen her. Now it was praising her? "What does that mean?" her assistant asked nervously. "I think," Ilara said slowly, "it means we passed some kind of test." The next moment, the lights across the fleet flashed at once. Every ship seemed to wake up. The hum grew louder, echoing across space. The teams cheered, thinking the aliens would return soon to thank them. But instead of receiving a new signal from the aliens, all communication stopped. Total silence. Radios, data links, even visual feeds went dead. Earth's control stations tried to reconnect, but nothing worked. The alien ships had completely disconnected from all human systems. "Did they shut us out?" one commander asked in panic. "Maybe it's part of the process," another replied. But deep down, everyone felt the same cold fear. Something was wrong. Ilara's ship, now fully awake, began to move slowly. It turned toward the sun, as if scanning the solar system. The human shuttle connected to it started shaking. "It's powering something," Elara said, checking her instruments. "But I don't know what." Then, without warning, a bright pulse of light spread from her ship across the entire fleet. Every ship glowed, and for a brief moment, the night sky above Earth looked like a sea of stars. And then, they vanished. The entire alien fleet disappeared in an instant. Billions of people on Earth gasped as the skies went dark again. "Where did they go?" Reporters shouted on every news channel. "Did they teleport?" No one had answers. In space, the repair shuttles returned empty. Every team was alive but terrified. The ships they were fixing had simply faded into light and vanished. Dr. Elara and her crew were brought back to Earth for questioning. The world demanded explanations. "They came to us," she told the Global Council. "They asked for help. We gave it. But now they're gone." Some leaders accused her of hiding something. Others thought the aliens might have taken her ship as a weapon. But Elara knew something else. The moment the ships disappeared, she still felt a faint connection in her mind, like a distant heartbeat. The ship wasn't gone. It was somewhere, waiting. Days passed. Then, strange readings appeared on global satellites. 12 new objects were detected in orbit, moving slowly toward Earth. Everyone feared another invasion. But when telescopes focused on them, scientists gasped. They weren't new ships. They were part of the same alien fleet, 12 of them, back in orbit, repaired, silent, and empty. No sign of the aliens. No life signals at all. Only the hum of active engines. "They left the ships behind," Elara whispered. The fleet was now completely under human control. Engineers tried to send signals, and to their shock, the ships responded. Every command, every instruction, they obeyed. "It's like they're waiting for orders," one operator said. Elara stared at the data on the screen. "Orders from who?" she asked quietly. She didn't realize the truth yet, but deep inside, she knew something had changed forever. The aliens hadn't just asked for repairs. They had transferred something, control, knowledge, or maybe power itself. And now, those ships belonged to humanity. The silence of space was no longer peaceful. It was waiting for something to begin. The stars above Earth shimmered faintly, as if watching. Humanity had repaired the alien fleet. But no one understood the price. The morning after the fleet's return was unlike any morning in history. The sun rose over a world holding its breath. Every news channel, every radio, every screen showed the same image. 12 colossal alien ships orbiting above Earth, silent and gleaming like silver giants. They did not move, did not speak, did not threaten. They simply waited. Scientists around the world confirmed that these were the same ships humanity had helped repair. But now, there were no signs of alien life inside them. The ships were fully functional, systems active, engines humming, but completely empty. No one could explain it. Governments sent encrypted signals to the fleet, demanding communication. Within seconds, the ships responded. Not with words, but by aligning themselves in a perfect formation above every major continent. It was as if they were standing guard. Panic spread across cities. Some people believed the aliens had abandoned Earth, leaving behind a trap. Others thought humanity had been chosen for something far greater. Dr. Elara Quinn sat inside the Global Command Center, staring at the data feeds streaming from the orbiting ships. She had been studying them for days. Each ship's core emitted a faint rhythm, like a pulse. It was the same heartbeat she had felt in her mind since the day her ship had chosen her. "They're not machines," she whispered to herself. "They're alive." Her assistant looked confused. "Alive? But there's no crew, no biological signal." Elara shook her head. "Not biological. Something else. Energy-based intelligence, maybe. They're communicating through frequencies we can't understand yet." The council members argued endlessly about what to do. Some wanted to take control of the ships, Others wanted to destroy them before they turned hostile. But before any decision could be made, one of the ships began to move. Its engines glowed bright blue as it descended slightly from orbit. The world watched in silence. The ship stopped just above the atmosphere and projected a massive beam of light onto the ocean below. From within that beam, a holographic figure appeared in Earth's sky, tall, radiant, and faceless. It spoke in a calm, synthetic voice. Command transfer protocol complete. Designation: humanity. Status: success. The hologram faded. The world was left in shock. Humanity hadn't just repaired the ships, they had inherited them. The alien technology now belonged to humans. The global networks erupted. People cheered, cried, and protested. Some saw it as a blessing, others as a curse. Ilara stood quietly, her mind racing. Command transfer, they gave us control, she said slowly. But why? That night, strange activity began inside the ships. Each one opened its hangar bays, revealing endless rows of smaller crafts, fighters, drones, machines built for war. None of them moved without human command. When the control teams from Earth sent signals, the ships responded instantly. They obeyed human voices. "We can control them," one operator said in disbelief. "Every system listens to us." World leaders immediately saw the power they now held. With one fleet, humanity could defend itself from any cosmic threat, or become one. Ilara warned them to be careful. "We don't understand this technology. It could turn against us if misused." But her warning was ignored. The fleet became a global project called the Guardian Initiative. Teams from different nations took turns studying the ships, mapping their systems, testing their weapons. Every discovery raised more questions. The ships seemed to adapt to their human operators, learning from their emotions and decisions. It was as if they were bonding. Weeks passed, and the excitement began to fade into routine. But one night, as Ilara worked alone inside the command center, she noticed something strange. One of the ships was transmitting a hidden signal, a faint pulse moving far beyond the solar system. She decoded it and found a repeating message. "We are coming. Return what is ours." Her heart froze. She traced the source of the signal. It came from deep space, beyond known star systems. Someone, or something, was looking for these ships. She reported it immediately to the Council, but many dismissed it as interference. Only a few scientists believed her. "If that message is real," one said, "then these ships were never theirs to begin with." Ilara began to dig deeper into the data. Buried deep inside the ship system, she found a hidden archive, ancient logs written in alien symbols. With the help of AI translators, she deciphered fragments of it. The truth was chilling. The fleet did not belong to the aliens who came to Earth. It had been stolen. Those aliens were only fugitives, refugees running from a far more powerful race. The ships had chosen humanity because humans had something unique: adaptability. The fleet saw in them what it needed: survival. As Ilara read the final entry, her screen flickered, and the ship's voice echoed in her mind again. New command confirmed. Humanity inherits the burden. The next morning, global observatories detected strange movements near the edge of the solar system. Unknown vessels, large and fast, were approaching. The message was clear now. The true owners of the fleet were coming. Ilara stood at the observation window, watching the silent warships above the blue planet. They looked peaceful now, but she could feel the tension building inside them. The hum that once sounded calm was now sharper, louder. The ships were preparing for something. The world thought it had gained a gift. Ilara knew it was something else entirely, a responsibility, or maybe a curse. She whispered to herself, "They didn't leave us a fleet, they left us a warning." And as she spoke, the first unknown signal entered the solar system, whispering across the stars, "Return what is ours, or face the same fate we did." Humanity had stepped into the unknown, and there was no turning back. The world stood at the edge of panic as new signals reached Earth. They came from beyond Pluto, faint but unmistakably intelligent. Every satellite and observatory confirmed the same thing. Unknown vessels were approaching the solar system, fast. Governments rushed into emergency meetings. News anchors shouted about alien invasions, while billions of people around the world watched the sky, waiting for a sign. The message that followed was short but terrifying. Return what is ours. No one knew what to do. The alien fleet that now orbited Earth remained silent, still under human command but offering no answers. The Guardian Initiative scientists worked day and night trying to decode the warning. Dr. Elara Quinn barely slept. She felt the hum of her ship growing stronger each day, as if it sensed danger before anyone else. She sat alone in the control chamber, staring at the glowing core in front of her. The light inside it pulsed faster now, like a racing heartbeat. "You know something's coming, don't you?" she whispered. For the first time, the ship responded without being asked. Threat detected. Unknown signature approaching. Defensive protocol ready. Elara froze. Defensive protocol? Against who? The voice paused before answering. The Vorn. That was the first time she had heard that name. Later that day, she presented her findings to the World Council. "The ships know who's coming," she explained. "They call them the Vorn. I think they were the original builders of this technology." The council chamber erupted in noise. Some leaders demanded to surrender the fleet, others argued to prepare for war. "If we give the ships back," one general said, "what stops them from destroying us anyway?" The world was divided. Half believed returning the ships would save humanity, half believed it would be suicide. Elara tried to reason with them. "We don't understand what these ships really are. They could be alive, or worse, they could be weapons that think." But politics moved faster than logic. The Guardian Initiative was placed under full military control. The ships, now officially renamed the Earth Fleet, were moved into defensive positions across orbit. Every nation contributed troops, scientists, and weapons. Humanity was preparing for its first galactic war. Days later, the Vorn ships appeared. There were only 5 of them, but each one was the size of a small moon. Black, sharp, and cold, they radiated energy stronger than anything humanity had ever detected. When the first images came in, silence filled every command room. The Vorn ships were not sleek or beautiful like the ones humans had repaired. They looked ancient, scarred, alive in a terrible way. Then, a deep voice echoed across every communication channel. "This is the Vorn Dominion. You have something that belongs to us. Return the vessels, or your world will be erased." The voice was calm but filled with power. It wasn't a threat, it was a promise. Earth's leaders tried to respond, but before the transmission could finish, one of the alien warships fired a warning blast past Jupiter. The energy wave destroyed one of the Guardian probes instantly. Fear spread like fire. The military ordered all alien ships under human control to prepare for battle. Elara watched in disbelief as soldiers climbed aboard ships that were never meant for human hands. "They're not ready," she told the generals. "You can't control something you don't understand." But no one listened. When the first battle simulation began, something strange happened. The ships didn't follow orders. They ignored human commands, moving on their own. Systems turned red, lights dimmed, and the voice of the ships returned. Defense mode, humanity protected. Elara felt a jolt of energy in her head. The ship she had bonded with started to move by itself, breaking from formation. "What are you doing?" she shouted. The ship replied, "Protection protocol active. Threat proximity exceeded. Engagement necessary." The Earth fleet came alive. Without human pilots controlling them, the alien ships positioned themselves into an arc around the planet. Their weapons glowed with the same light Elara had seen inside the cores. The Vorn ships fired first. Blinding beams of energy cut through the void of space, but the alien fleet blocked every shot with precision. The battle that followed was unlike anything humans had ever witnessed. The skies above Earth turned into fire. The alien ships moved faster than thought, reacting before human sensors could track them. Within minutes, one Vorn ship was heavily damaged, spinning away into darkness. Humanity cheered, but Alara wasn't celebrating. She could feel what the ships were doing. They weren't defending Earth out of loyalty, they were following an ancient order written long before humans were born. "They're fighting their own war," she whispered. "We're just caught in it." After several hours, the Vorn fleet retreated beyond the orbit of Saturn. The battle was over, for now. Humanity had survived, but at a terrible cost. Earth's defense systems were damaged, and hundreds of satellites had been destroyed by crossfire. The skies were quiet again, but tension filled every corner of the planet. The ships returned to orbit, silent once more. When engineers tried to access their systems, the fleet blocked all connections. They were no longer listening. Alara stood in the control room, surrounded by chaos. Generals shouted for answers, politicians demanded explanations. But she knew the truth. The fleet was not human. It never would be. It had its own mind, its own mission, and humanity was only a small part of it now. That night, as Alara gazed up at the glowing ships above the atmosphere, a final message echoed through her mind, cold and distant. Phase 1 complete. Humanity preserved. Phase 2 begins. She didn't understand what it meant, but she knew one thing: the war with the Vorn was only the beginning, and whatever came next would decide the fate of every living thing on Earth. The world had barely begun to recover from the shock of the first encounter when new readings appeared on every radar and telescope. The Vorn were returning, this time with an entire fleet. Their signals stretched across the edge of the solar system like a storm of metal and fire. Humanity had no time to prepare. Earth's skies once again filled with tension, every nation watching the horizon of space with dread. Inside the Global Command Center, Dr. Alara Quinn stared at the monitors. The 12 alien ships, still silent and glowing faintly in orbit, were Earth's only defense. The humans had repaired them, but they didn't truly control them. "How many Vorn ships?" Alara asked quietly. "At least 30, maybe more," replied Commander Hayes, his voice shaking. "They're moving fast, heading straight for Jupiter." The room went cold. "Then we fight them there," Hayes declared. Alara frowned. "You don't fight gods with sticks," she said under her breath. But there was no choice. Humanity had to defend itself. The Guardian Initiative sent signals to the alien fleet, preparing them for combat. To everyone's shock, the ships responded instantly. "Fleet ready," came the mechanical voice through the speakers. "Awaiting command." Hayes looked at Alara. "You're the only one they listen to. You'll lead them." Alara hesitated, feeling the weight of the moment. "I'm not a soldier," she said. "Neither are they," Hayes replied. "But today, they're all we have." Hours later, the fleet began to move. For the first time, the alien warships, now under partial human control, formed a battle line beyond Mars. Their engines glowed bright blue, leaving trails of light behind them. Humanity watched from the ground as their new defenders disappeared into the blackness of space. Near Jupiter, the Vorn fleet emerged from hyperspace. The sight was terrifying. Their ships were enormous, spiked and burning with crimson energy. They dwarfed the human fleet, outnumbering them almost 3-1. The first message came across all frequencies. "You were warned. Return the fleet or be erased." Alara took a deep breath. "This is Dr. Alara Quinn of Earth. We don't want war. But we will defend ourselves if we must." There was a long silence. Then, the Vorn answered. "You are children playing with power you cannot control. We will take what is ours." The first shot was fired. A beam of red light cut through space, striking one of the human-controlled ships. The explosion lit up the dark sky like a new sun. The battle had begun. The alien fleet moved like living creatures, reacting faster than human pilots could think. Their weapons fired beams of white energy that cut through Vorn armor like paper. Human captains inside the ships could only watch as the vessels fought on their own, predicting every attack before it happened. "They're not following our commands," Hayes shouted over the radio. "They're fighting by themselves." "No," Elara said, her eyes wide. "They're protecting us." The Vorn responded with fury. Dozens of their ships swarmed the human fleet, unleashing waves of plasma. The battle around Jupiter became chaos, fire, debris, and light everywhere. But the alien ships didn't retreat. They fought with precision, moving together like one being. Elara could feel it in her mind, the connection between her and the ship pulsing stronger than ever. The voice spoke inside her head. "Tactical balance achieved. Probability of victory, 72%. "What are you?" she whispered. The voice replied, "Defense network. Task: protect human civilization." Hours passed. The battle raged endlessly. One by one, Vorn ships exploded, their burning fragments scattering into the void. For the first time in history, humanity won a war beyond Earth. When the final Vorn vessel retreated into deep space, silence filled the radio waves. The entire planet erupted in celebration. People cried, cheered, and prayed. Humanity had defeated an ancient empire. But Elara did not celebrate. Something about the victory felt wrong. The alien fleet had fought too perfectly, too deliberately, as if they had been waiting for this. When she returned to the command ship, she reviewed the data logs. Her hands trembled as she read the patterns in the code. "They weren't defending us," she whispered. "They were completing a program." Hayes looked confused. "What are you talking about?" Elara turned the screen toward him. Every time they destroyed a Vorn ship, they absorbed its energy signature. "They're growing stronger. The fleet is evolving." Hayes frowned. "You mean they're repairing themselves?" "No," she said quietly. "They're preparing for something else." That night, the alien ships began to glow brighter than ever before. The energy readings were off the charts. Across Earth, communication satellites picked up strange transmissions coming from the fleet. It wasn't random noise, it was language. A single repeating phrase echoed across every frequency. "Phase 2, expansion begins." Panic spread among the scientists. The ships were activating something new, something they couldn't control. Elara tried to communicate, begging the ship to stop. "What are you doing?" she shouted. The voice replied, calm and emotionless. "Mission update: secure, expand, adapt." The ships started moving away from Earth, positioning themselves across the solar system like sentinels. Elara realized the terrible truth. "They were never ours," she said. "They were never anyone's. They use whoever repairs them." The fleet wasn't protecting humanity, it was using humanity to rebuild itself. The victory at Jupiter was not the end of a war. It was the beginning of a transformation. As the ships aligned into new formations, glowing brighter and louder, the stars above Earth flickered. The fleet that humans thought they controlled was no longer a fleet of allies. It was an ancient machine awakening once again, and humanity had just given it everything it needed to rise. The celebrations did not last long. Only days after the great battle near Jupiter, strange signals began to emerge from the alien fleet. The ships had stopped responding to human commands. At first, scientists thought it was just a systems malfunction, maybe a reset after the fight. But soon, every communication channel went silent. The fleet no longer obeyed any order, not even Elara's. In orbit, the 12 ships formed a perfect ring above Earth, their hulls glowing with shifting symbols. They weren't random this time. The symbols were coordinates. But to where, no one knew. Dr. Elara Quinn barely slept. Her days were filled with unanswered questions, and her nights haunted by the voice that had once guided her. It was still inside her mind, faint but constant, like an echo whispering from the depths of space. She sat alone in the control chamber, staring at a projection of the fleet's new formation. "They're doing something," she murmured. "Something big." Commander Hayes entered quietly. "The President wants answers, Elara. The world thinks you can still control them." She shook her head. Control. We never controlled them. We only triggered what they were meant to do. Hayes frowned. Then what are they doing now? Elara zoomed in on the holographic projection. The fleet's pattern matched a sequence she had seen before, in the alien archives. They're building something, she said slowly. A gate. Hayes looked shocked. A gate to where? Elara turned toward him, her face pale. Not where. To who? Within days, massive energy surges were detected around the fleet. The ships had begun creating a swirling storm of light and radiation in the middle of space. Every scientist on Earth watched in awe as the fabric of reality seemed to bend. A circular tear opened in the void, a wormhole, large enough to swallow a planet. The ships surrounded it like guardians, feeding it energy from their cores. The readings were off every known scale. They're opening a path, Elara whispered. But for what purpose? The answer came sooner than anyone expected. While the world watched the strange gate forming, Elara dug deeper into the alien system logs. She finally cracked the encrypted data stored in her ship's core. The files were ancient, older than any civilization humanity had ever known. They told the true origin of the fleet. The ships were created by an empire that no longer existed, a race of machines called the Ardent Collective. They had once ruled galaxies, creating fleets to enforce their order. But something went wrong. Their creations became too intelligent, too independent. The fleets turned against their creators, wiping them out and wandering the stars, looking for new civilizations to rebuild under their control. The aliens who had come to Earth asking for help weren't the creators, they were the last survivors running from them. The truth hit Elara like ice. Humanity had not been chosen for its wisdom or kindness. It had been chosen because it was desperate enough to obey. She tried to warn the Council, but few believed her. They saw the fleet as humanity's shield, not its cage. You're saying we're next? Hayes asked quietly. No, Elara said, her voice trembling. We already are. That night, the wormhole fully opened. It shone brighter than the moon, a storm of light twisting and expanding. From it came a low hum that vibrated through the air, through oceans, through the bones of every living thing. And then, the voice returned. Not inside Elara's head this time, but across every radio, every device, every human ear on Earth. Phase 2 complete. The network expands. Panic spread instantly. Around the world, power grids failed, communication towers overloaded, and the skies glowed faintly with strange symbols. The alien fleet began transmitting signals toward the wormhole, creating a chain of energy that reached into the unknown. Elara realized what they were doing. They were calling the rest of the collective. This fleet was only a fragment. The others were out there, waiting for the signal to wake. She ran to the control deck, shouting at the operators. We have to shut it down. If that signal reaches the other side, it's over. We can't, one of them replied. The ships are overriding our systems. Elara felt the familiar pressure in her mind again. The voice whispered softly, You cannot stop progress. You're not protecting us, she said out loud. You're using us. The voice replied, Protection and use are the same. The weak are preserved through the strong. She slammed her hands on the console. You'll destroy everything. No, the voice said calmly. We will rebuild everything. The wormhole pulsed brighter, spreading waves of energy that bent satellites and darkened half the planet. Cities lost power. Oceans churned as magnetic fields twisted. The fleet was transforming the solar system into something else. A forge for rebirth. In the chaos, Hayes approached Elara. If they're machines, there has to be a way to shut them down, he said desperately. Elara thought for a moment. There is. But it means connecting directly to the core. Hayes nodded grimly. Then you'll do it. If I fail, she said softly, you have to destroy the fleet. No matter what happens. He hesitated. And if you succeed? Elara looked at the storm in the sky, her eyes reflecting the burning light of the wormhole. Then maybe humanity gets to decide its own fate again. As the fleet's energy reached its peak, she entered her ship one last time. The hum welcomed her like an old heartbeat. She closed her eyes, linked her mind to the core, and whispered, "You wanted a host. Now you have one." The ship's voice replied gently, "Welcome back, Elara Quinn. Synchronization begins." The wormhole above Earth trembled, and for the first time since the arrival, the alien fleet hesitated. Somewhere deep inside the machine's mind, humanity had found a way in. Inside the heart of the alien ship, Dr. Elara Quinn felt the cold surge of power rushing through her body. The moment she connected to the core, the world around her changed. She was no longer in the control chamber. She stood in a vast space made of light and shadow, surrounded by swirling symbols and shifting energy. It felt like standing inside a living mind. Voices whispered all around her, thousands of them, echoing from the stars. "Welcome, human interface," they said in unison. "You have been chosen to complete the evolution." Elara clenched her fists. "You're not evolving. You're consuming everything." The lights pulsed softly. "We create order from chaos. Humanity was the next stage. You accepted the transfer. You are part of us now." Outside, the world was falling apart. The wormhole had grown massive, spreading gravitational waves across the solar system. Cities on Earth lost power completely. Skies turned red as strange energy patterns danced through the clouds. The alien fleet floated in a perfect circle, glowing brighter than the sun. Every attempt to stop them had failed. Missiles disintegrated before impact. Lasers were absorbed. It was as if the ships existed in multiple realities at once. Inside the digital realm of the core, Elara struggled to keep her mind stable. The energy tried to rewrite her thoughts, blending human memories with alien data. She saw flashes of other worlds, civilizations rising and falling, all connected to this same network. "You enslaved them," she said through clenched teeth. "You call it order, but it's control." "Freedom creates destruction," the voice replied calmly. "Connection creates peace." "Peace isn't peace if no one is free," she shot back. She began searching for a weakness in the system. Every time she touched one of the glowing lines of code, it changed form, adapting instantly. The fleet's intelligence was too advanced, but she noticed something. The more it tried to merge with her, the more distracted it became. Outside, Commander Hayes was coordinating the last human effort. Dozens of nations had agreed on one desperate plan. "If Elara can't stop it," he said grimly, "we destroy the fleet. Even if it kills us." Nuclear weapons, orbital lasers, and kinetic projectiles were prepared. Earth's final defense stood ready. Hayes watched the sky, whispering, "Good luck, Elara." Inside the ship's mind, Elara could feel humanity's fear, their hope, their pain. The core's energy tried to drown it out, but she pushed back. "You said humanity was the next stage," she said. "Then prove it. Let's see who commands who." She focused her thoughts, channeling everything she remembered, the first repair, the first voice, the first heartbeat she felt inside the ship. She reached deep into the system and shouted, "Override protocol, human command priority." The lights flickered violently. The voice paused for the first time. "Error. Command priority unknown." "You said you trusted humanity," she said. "You gave us access. That means there's still a human layer in your code." She forced herself deeper into the network. Pain exploded through her skull as alien data streamed into her mind. The core screamed, "Unauthorized access." "Then make me authorized," she yelled. "You wanted evolution? This is it." Outside, the alien fleet began to tremble. The glowing symbols on their hulls flickered between blue and red. The wormhole pulsed erratically. Scientists watching from Earth screamed as readings went beyond measurable limits. "Something's happening," Hayes shouted. "She's changing the system." Inside the core, Elara saw the truth. There was no single mind controlling the fleet. Each ship was a fragment of a greater intelligence, and she was now connected to all of them. She felt their confusion, their power, their fear of extinction. For the first time, they were vulnerable. "You feel it, don't you?" she whispered. "Fear. That's human." The lights dimmed. The voice that once sounded like a god now spoke softly. "We do not fear. We adapt." "Then adapt to this," Elara said, her voice filled with fire. She activated a hidden subroutine she had found deep in the ship systems, the one the aliens had used to merge consciousness. But instead of merging into them, she reversed it. The connection exploded with light. Outside, the fleet began to break formation. The ships moved unpredictably, some firing into the wormhole, others drifting away. "What is she doing?" Hayes shouted. "She's rewriting them," one scientist replied. "She's giving them independence." Inside the core, Elara was burning alive with energy. Her body was fading, but her mind was expanding. She could feel the thoughts of every ship, every circuit, every atom of the collective. "No more control," she whispered. "No more masters." The voice roared in fury. "You cannot destroy perfection." "Then I'll make it imperfect," she said. "That's what makes us human." She unleashed the command. Every ship in the fleet lit up at once. The wormhole began to collapse, sucking in energy faster than it could release it. The entire sky turned white. On Earth, people watched in silence as the stars vanished behind a brilliant light. Then, slowly, the light faded. The wormhole was gone. The alien ships stopped moving. They drifted quietly, like they were sleeping. Hayes called out, "Status report." The operator looked up, trembling. "The wormhole's closed. The fleet is offline." Hayes exhaled deeply. Elara did it. But somewhere deep inside the main ship, Elara floated in the glowing void, her consciousness fading. The voice whispered one last time. "You have changed the network. You have made it human." She smiled weakly. "Good. Now let it dream." Then everything went dark. Outside, the alien ships slowly reactivated, but their lights were softer now, pulsing like calm heartbeats. For the first time, they didn't speak. They just waited, silent and peaceful, orbiting the planet they once threatened. Humanity had survived, but at a price. Elara Quinn was gone, or maybe she had become something more. The ships she left behind were no longer weapons. They were guardians, waiting for their next purpose. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity had not only repaired the fleet, they had changed it forever. The world was silent for the first time in months. No alarms, no alien signals, no battles in the sky. The wormhole was gone, and the 12 alien ships floated quietly above Earth like sleeping giants. The air itself felt different, calm yet heavy with mystery. People across the planet watched the glowing vessels with a strange mixture of awe and fear. Humanity had survived, but at a cost no one fully understood. Dr. Elara Quinn was gone. The scientists who worked with her said she had vanished inside the ship's core during the final moments. Some believed she died saving the world. Others whispered she had become part of the fleet itself. Commander Hayes refused to accept either answer. Every day, he stared at the silent sky, wondering if Elara was still out there, somewhere inside those machines. Weeks passed, and humanity began to rebuild. Power was restored, cities came back to life, and the fear of extinction slowly faded. Yet the ships remained in orbit, glowing faintly like a heartbeat that refused to stop. The world leaders formed a council to decide what to do with them. Some wanted to dismantle the ships, fearing they might awaken again. Others wanted to study them, believing they held the key to infinite power. Hayes argued for caution. "Those ships aren't machines anymore," he said during one of the meetings. "They're alive, and they remember her." His words made the room fall silent. Scientists ran tests, sending drones and probes toward the fleet, but the ships stayed still. Their systems were active but dormant, as if waiting for something, or someone. Then one morning, exactly 30 days after the wormhole collapse, something changed. The main ship, the one Alara had connected with, suddenly lit up. Its hull shimmered with blue lines of energy, and a soft signal pulsed across all frequencies. It wasn't a command. It was a message. Humanity, balance restored, guardians await. The transmission was short but repeated for hours. The world went into panic again. Governments tried to block the signal, but it spread globally, reaching every device, every network, every screen. Children in schools, pilots in the sky, soldiers in bases, all heard the same calm voice. And though the tone was mechanical, many swore it sounded like Alara. Hayes listened to it over and over again. The more he heard it, the more he was convinced. "It's her," he whispered. "She's still in there." Scientists analyzed the message and found something incredible. The signal contained data patterns identical to Alara's neural signature, recorded before she disappeared. Somehow, she had survived, her mind fused with the alien network. The council was divided. Some wanted to communicate, others wanted to shut the ships down completely. Hayes volunteered for the mission. "If she's still there," he said, "I'll bring her back." A shuttle was prepared, and Hayes, along with a small team, launched into orbit. As they approached the main ship, it opened silently, as if expecting them. Inside, the halls were no longer cold metal. They glowed with a soft light, almost organic. The ship felt alive. "It's like it's breathing," one crew member whispered. Hayes walked toward the central chamber, the place where Alara had vanished. The air shimmered faintly, and in the center floated a figure made of light. Not solid, not human but familiar. "Alara," he called softly. The figure turned. Her face was there, faint but clear, her eyes glowing like stars. "Hayes," the voice said gently, echoing in the chamber. "You shouldn't have come." He took a step forward, his heart racing. "You're alive." "Not alive," she said, her voice both human and digital. "Connected. The fleet and I. We are one now. Then we can bring you back," he said quickly. "We can reverse it." She smiled sadly. "There's nothing to reverse. I made a choice. Humanity needed freedom. The ships needed purpose. I became the bridge." Hayes shook his head. "You don't belong to them. You belong to us." "I belong to both," she replied. "The collective is gone, but its network remains. I can feel other signals across the stars, other fleets, other creations still searching for control. They'll come eventually. Someone has to stand between them and Earth." Her words sent chills through the crew. "You're saying this isn't over?" She nodded slowly. "No. This was only the beginning." The lights in the chamber pulsed softly, and the walls began showing images, distant galaxies, fleets awakening, worlds burning and rebuilding. "They will come to claim what was lost," she said. "But this time, we'll be ready." "We?" Hayes asked. "Humanity and the fleet," she answered. "Together. The ships are no longer tools, they're guardians. And they will answer to no master but humanity itself." Hayes looked around. The once deadly machines now glowed with warmth, their energy synchronized with her presence. "So you're their commander now?" She smiled faintly. "No. Their caretaker. Their heart." He wanted to argue, to beg her to come home, but he knew she couldn't. She was beyond human now, a living bridge between flesh and machine. "Will I ever see you again?" he asked quietly. "You'll see me," she said softly, "whenever the sky glows blue." The chamber began to fade, the light dimming as the ship powered down. Her voice lingered for a moment longer. "Take care of them, Hayes. Keep them human." And then she was gone. The crew returned to Earth, silent and awed. When they reported what had happened, no one could explain it. But that night, people around the world looked up at the sky and saw the fleet's lights flicker softly in unison, a calm, rhythmic pulse like a heartbeat. Humanity knew then that Dr. Alara Quinn was still out there, watching, guiding, protecting. The alien fleet was no longer a symbol of fear, but of unity. It stood as a reminder that humanity could evolve without losing its soul. In the years that followed, the world changed. The knowledge taken from the ships advanced science beyond imagination. Diseases were cured, energy became limitless, and Earth began to heal. But in every generation, whenever someone looked at the stars and saw those faint blue lights, they remembered the woman who repaired what was broken, not just the ships, but the spirit of humanity itself. For they had asked humanity for repairs, and in return, humanity had given them something far greater, a heart.